Hey there! In this video I will show you how to make a fish curry. If somebody asks me what's the best dish that combines well with rice, I would reply curry without hesitation. This is a relatively simple recipe, however it has some aspects to comply with, and I'm going to show them to you so that you can succeed this on the first try. I'm making a fish curry today, but you can use the same recipe in order to make beef curry, chicken curry or any other type of curry, it's up to you. The only difference will be the cooking time at the final stage. And right now let's get to the recipe. For this recipe you will need fish, in this case it's the freshest Philippine tilapia, but you can use any other fish, or you can use chicken or beef and you're making another type of curry. Garlic, chili peppers, coconut milk, you can replace it with heavy cream, curry powder, onions, ginger, tomato sauce. I'm using tomato sauce for this recipe, but you can use fresh tomatoes, that's totally fine. I will leave all the weights of the ingredients in the description. And of course salt and pepper. I cut the onions in julienne. Just like that. I'm using white onions, they're the best for this recipe, but you can use red onions, that's also totally fine. I'll put them in a pan right away, even there is no heat, it's totally fine. So the onions are cut. Right now I'm going to saute them, and I'm using a really untraditional way. So I'm using cold pan, I set high heat right away, I'm adding a little bit of vegetable oil. Then I'm adding a lot of salt, and then I will mix it with my spatula. Traditionally I would have to leave it like that and stir from time to time until they get brown, but it takes like 30-40 minutes sometimes. It's really a long way. So what I'm gonna do now is to pour water in, set the highest heat, mix it one more time, and put the lid on. It's going to boil. I will cook it at high heat until all the water evaporates. After that I will open the lid and reduce the temperature and cook it at low heat for about 20-15 minutes. So some of you, if there are chefs watching, they may say, "Oh, you don't know how to saute onions." No, I do. I've done it like hundreds of times. But this method, I discovered it recently, and I believe it allows to save a lot of time and getting the same result. So I'm using this method, and we'll see how it's gonna turn out. Meanwhile, I'm going to cut the garlic, chili and ginger. Doesn't matter the size, because we're going to puree it later after cooking. However, I prefer to give as much surface as possible because it will allow them to brown better, therefore more flavor. By the way, when it comes to fish, if you want to know how to debone fish, check out one of my videos where I demonstrate that. And after making fillet, you can just cut them into large dices and use them for this dish. It's been around 3 minutes. I removed the lid. In this case I removed the lid because I need the water to evaporate, and I will show you what to do next after the water evaporates. It's been around 5 more minutes. The water evaporated. Now it's important to stir it. Now I want to show you in real time the entire process of caramelization in order to prove that this method really works. Reduce the temperature. As you can see, the onions are getting really nice and brown. It's important that you scrap the bottom of the pan in order to remove this caramel from the bottom. otherwise it will burn. And at this point we can add a little bit of vegetable oil and the garlic, ginger and the rest. I'm adding them now because if I added them before, they would burn, because onions take a very long time to be caramelized, as you could see. I cook them for a few more minutes and then I will add the curry powder. The whole point of curry is to caramelize onions in the right way. Otherwise your curry won't have an amazing flavor that you get by caramelizing onions for a long time. But as you can see, my method took only 15 minutes, while the traditional method takes at least 30 minutes. It's been around 3 minutes. I'm going to slightly deglaze the pan. We don't want any brown thing on the bottom, because if you leave it for long it's going to burn. Our wedges are really close to be done. Just around 2 more minutes. It's been 3 minutes. When you're making curry, make sure your kitchen is well ventilated, because it produces a lot of spicy steam that makes you sneeze. Now I'm going to add around 3 tablespoons of curry powder. I'm adding curry powder at this stage because I need the heat to enhance its flavors. Whenever you put dry ingredients on the pan and expose them to high temperature, it enhances their flavor. Heat enhances the flavors a lot. That's why sometimes people prefer to toast their spices on a dry pan before using them. At this point I'm slightly deglazing the pan again, because I see it's getting too dark. And right now I'm going to add my tomato sauce. It's important to deglaze the pan before adding the tomato sauce, because otherwise it will start boiling and splashing all around. Scrap all the flavors from the bottom, all the brown stuff. If you're using fresh tomatoes, you add fresh tomatoes. If you're using tomato paste, add tomato paste. But if you're using tomato paste, make sure to add water to deglaze the pan. I'm going to cook it for around a minute. I'm also adding a little bit of salt. I've been cooking them for a minute, and right now I'm adding coconut milk. Or you can add heavy cream, that's totally fine. Some recipes, curry recipes, call for yogurt, so there is a variety of choice. I'm going to bring it to a boil for a few seconds. I brought it to a boil and turn off the heat. Now I'm going to blend it. I switched to a silicone spatula because I want to take everything from the bottom. As you can see, the bottom is almost perfectly clean. That's what you need. All the flavors are inside the curry. Don't wash the pan, you will need it. Medium speed and puree it. And here is the final result. Perfectly homogeneous. Now let me taste it. Yeah, that's really good. It has this sweetness from onions and spiciness from the chili and curry powder. At the same time, it has a really nice gentle flavor from coconut milk. That's why it's important to caramelize onions properly, because they give this nice and delectable taste. Next, I'm going to finish the curry. I put fish on cold pan. Then I'm using silicone spatula to remove all the curry from the bowl. Now I'm going to bring it to a boil. Cook for around 1 or 2 minutes and it will be done. In this case it's fish, that's why it takes very little time to cook. If you're making chicken curry, I recommend frying chicken first, giving it color because it enhances the flavor. And then add the curry, bring it to a boil, cook for around 30 seconds. If you have the same pieces of chicken, and it will be done. If you're making beef or lamb curry, I recommend frying the meat first and then cook the curry for around 40 minutes under a lid at a very low temperature. You can add water if necessary because it evaporates. But in this case I'm going to remove it from heat very fast, because otherwise the fish will be overcooked. Another thing is that I'm going to put it in a cold bowl right away, because otherwise my fish is going to be overcooked and I don't want that. I want it to be tender, juicy. I'm going to cook it for around a minute and turn off the heat. It's been 1.5 minutes. I'm removing the heat and I transfer it to a bowl right away in order to stop the cooking process. Now let me show you one more thing. So it's cooked. Let's find a big piece of fish to check the readiness. Cut through this, it's totally white. It's totally white. You see, it's totally cooked. So if you were afraid that 2 minutes is not enough to cook the fish, don't worry, it's fine. You see, it's fully cooked. And here is the final result. I served it with rice. It's a really good combination. If you want to know how to make perfect rice, check out my other video. And that's it. This recipe is very simple. You can try this at home. I think you will like it. If you like the video, give it a like. Let me know in comments what you think about this recipe, and subscribe to my channel to see my new videos. Thank you for watching.